A common narrative following on from Idubbz's latest apology video is that the man who once made long-form criticism videos which featured edgy humour has now grown up, matured and evolved as a person. This is also the main criticism from Idubbz and H3 fans on my Sam Hyde video that quite unexpectedly blew up last year. I find it kind of entertaining that a video I put out just because I had some spare time before starting a new job ended up getting over 250,000 views and essentially started a turf war between Sam Hyde, H3 and Idubbz fans in the comments. It's no secret from my video that I'm a Sam Hyde fan, was somewhat indifferent to Idubbz and have complete disdain for Ethan Klein. I preempted in that video the fans of Ian and Ethan would comment saying that they've just matured. This is clearly not the case, instead both men just completely went down the rabbit hole of social justice, Ethan now being the cancel culture king who tries to ruin others to stay relevant, while Ian's decline I feel has been caused somewhat due to an enormous level of insecurity on his behalf, revolving around the jokes made about his relationship with former OnlyFans creator Anissa Joma. A lot has happened last year since the original Creator Clash event where Ian banned Sam and his friends from attending. Ian, as we all know, has pivoted away from his original series that made him popular on YouTube, such as Content Cop, Kickstarter Crap and Bad Unboxing, towards more documentary style videos of YouTubers that have apparently fallen off, such as Airsoft Fatty. Ian, while showing what these creators are now currently up to, takes a somewhat of a looking down and making fun approach of the subjects of his videos. It's likely Sam knew this when Ian contacted him to make his video on Sam and played a bit of 4D chess, releasing his gaslighting video, where instead of just completely doing what Ian wants him to do, Sam decided to play a series of pranks on Ian.
This whole thing started when Idubbz came out to film a documentary about you, where he was essentially in a roundabout way trying to punk you, right?
Yeah.
Show you as a washed up comedian or something along those lines, right?
Big time.
But when that ended, you guys were seemingly on decent terms, right?
Yeah, I felt, even though I knew he came out to try to clown me, but the exposure that I got from that, I got a pretty serious boost to my career, to which I'm indebted to him for, you know.
I think he's funny, and I know he was getting like some static or whatever with people online. I wanted to make a video with Idubbz where it was like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy, mayhem, this is funny.
Yeah.
And make something cool. So we have the Idubbz gaslighting video document here. This was our prep document. Can you scroll down?
Before anything was filmed, this was like the day one prep.
And part of what went wrong was, I think Idubbz was kind of trying to punk me a little bit. Yeah. And like make me look like a guy that had like fallen off, which I have. Like I've fallen off, like undoubtedly. But I think he kind of wanted to like, he wanted to come out here and see something depressing, and we like ended up making this kind of like funny thing. Stuff to buy: lots of alcohol, a bunch of Pokemon cards. Try to tell him what Pokemon is, as if it's some new thing like crypto. Buy parakeets from Petco. Fill fridge with unbagged meat. Spend $10K on scratch tickets. A bunch of dead wasps.
Quarter pound of weed on the table.
All right, scroll down. So we wanted to say part of it was like he was gonna come out and see like where was I in my career after having like fallen off or whatever, and I wanted to be like, well, we're just rapping, we're just like we're like laying down tracks now and rapping all day. And Joey was like doing all this shit like yo, check it out. This is kind of like a Drake beat. Like making him listen to beats and shit. Record a lot of bad rap music. Stage fright where Sam...
Idubbz would choose not to release his documentary until he was basically forced to by Sam releasing his gaslighting document. And the documentary was in itself entertaining, although you could see what Ian was trying to do with his whole ironic segment of the video. Later on that year, Ian would start an influencer boxing organisation called Creator Clash, and Sam was banned from having any involvement or even attending the event, with Anissa citing Sam was not, quote, brand friendly.
Do you think Dr. Mike would box on a card with Sam Hyde? It's just a massive business risk.
Sam had been involved with training creator Harley Mornstein for his fight, which Hyde and the rest of his crew had planned on attending to support Harley. Sam was not told that he was banned until he had already purchased $1,000 worth of tickets for his friends and had spent money on flights and accommodation for the event. It's easy to understand how this weak and sly move from Ian would anger anyone. Since then, Sam has gone on to continue live streaming and even host a new reality TV show called Fish Tank. In the initial stages after Ian's doc, Sam acted extremely cordial towards Ian, even praising him for taking a chance featuring him on his channel. Despite knowing that Ian was really seeking to make a hit piece documentary looking down on Sam, it was clear that Sam wanted no hard feelings between the two.
Tim Heidecker, and he tried to pull some stunt on me, wouldn't have ended good. I would have left. I wouldn't have made a documentary. Idubbz hanging in there, getting it done, doing the boxing thing, letting me almost kill him in the car, hanging with us with loaded firearms, going through all WEX security steps, everything. That's bold, no matter what way you cut it. And yeah, he left his mask on in the drive-thru. He's from California, okay? Cut him a fucking break. And second of all, to have cut it, I think that it's accurate and neutral, his documentary. Like, he could have made it snarky. He could have been, oh, well, this is the flip side. This is what actually happened. Like, he could have done that. But the documentary was extremely well cut. It was neutral. It represented what happened. And I think that's big, like, character-wise, to not look for an angle to, like, get revenge or something. I think it's big-ish of him. Okay, so I'll say that. And also, I think he was as neutral as he could be. I know that some people are like, oh, you mentioned racism. He's got 8 million subscribers. He has to mention racism. For him to, like, even be associated with my name in any way is like a bold thing. He's playing with his livelihood at that point. So that's a huge deal. So I'm tremendously thankful to him. I've talked about this with Nick. If the tables were turned, I would have made the documentary called 10 Reasons Why Sam Hyde's a Fat. And it would have just been like, oh yeah, we went out there, he tried to impress me with his car. He had these like 20-year-old guys like acting like they were like ironic.
However, since the banning from Creator Clash, Sam has not been afraid to take constant shots at Idubbz, and in particular his wife Anissa, for the negative and seemingly controlling influence she's had over Ian since the beginning of their relationship. The story really kicked off again when creator Foggy Fresh was banned from Creator Clash, after being booked for a fight for committing the heinous crime of hanging out with Sam in the lead up. This really turned into a series of losses for Ian. Tons of people were again critical of Idubbz for banning someone over association with someone he doesn't like. This led to Chris Ray Gunn being mismatched and being beaten to a pulp, and not to mention Idubbz being badly beaten in his fight before crying on the microphone. And just as a side note, it's incredibly cringy how Idubbz refers to himself as a fighter now. I gotta admit, YouTube boxing is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, but just because you have the money and time to put on an event and lace up some gloves, don't call yourself a fighter. It's the martial arts equivalent of stolen valor for all those guys who've been grinding away in MMA and boxing gyms for years, taking damage in hopes of someday making it big. Let's just say Ian is as much of a fighter as Brendan Schaub is a comedian.
Dicey!
After the controversy revolving around Foggy Fresh's ban, Idubbz finally decided to make a video addressing his change in content and persona. Idubbz essentially apologised for his old videos, stating that his content cops were, quote, cruel, and his character came from a place of insecurity. He gave apologies to everyone featured in his content cops, and in particular singled out Tana Mojo and minorities for his use of slurs, essentially walking back his all of it's okay or none of it's okay point from before. He also stated that he'd be donating revenue from the video to charities representing the causes of people that he previously hurt with his comedy. I mean, you'd swear, like, by how he goes on, that his content cops literally gave people cancer or something. Well, the average H3 and modern Idubbz fan completely ate this apology up, as the apology and dismissal of edgy humour was a confirmation of their own woke worldview. Many other people were entirely perplexed by what Idubbz was saying. So look, I could preach to my own choir here and make fun of Idubbz's new weird midlife crisis appearance, which he looks to have stolen from Sam's ex-GF Danny, or take the lowest hanging fruit and just make fun of Anissa all day. But I want to look at whether or not Ian's apology for his content cops means that he's grown as a person, as his fans like to remind me in my old video. Whereas content cops, as Ian describes, cruel, and what does it really mean to mature? Firstly, let's look at what the content cops were and why they were made. YouTube back in 2016 was rife with content that was pretty terrible, such as prank videos, scammers, and drama videos. YouTube had a way of promoting some of the worst channels out there, while punishing decent, hard-working creators. This is why the likes of Ian, H3 and Grade A Under A were necessary, in the sense that they made videos sort of policing the site. Idubbz' content cops were absolutely at the forefront of this. His most noteworthy content cops featured Jinx, a reaction channel notorious for stealing and profiting off the content of others, Keemstar, a drama channel run by a man with probably the biggest portfolio of controversies ever, Leafy, a commentary channel labelled by many as a bully, often made fun of children on his channel, Rice Gum and Tana Mojo. I think Ian, along with his fans, like to almost misremember and employ some revisionist history here, that these videos were simply Ian using edgy humour, constantly insulting the topic of his videos while using slurs. This is not at all the case. Instead, each and every one of these videos were poignant criticism, well laid out arguments with edgy satirical comedy sewn in between each point. Is being critical of others who do wrong cruel? Is this really the sort of world we want to live in? Someone like Jinx can completely re-upload other people's videos, but we dare not hurt his feelings, Ian. Each and every one of these people were at times hugely negative forces on the platform and deserved to be taken down a peg. Even Keemstar and Tana admit that Ian's video on them were actually pretty good.
Paying that much attention, I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck about the content cops. Everybody acts like they're so exciting when they come out. I don't watch them. I've watched them before. I don't care.
He's really smart. He's really good at what he does. He's never like, and it took me a long time to realize that, because for a long time I was just like, why me, when? And then I realized like it's you, because like he never ever will make a content cop about somebody who doesn't come for him first. And I didn't know that, and I was entitled.
But in what way did you come for him? You called him out for saying the N-word?
In a horrible way. In like the meanest, like,
you made a video?
No, actually my boyfriend at the time was obsessed with his videos, and then I heard like 30 seconds of it, like 10 seconds of it. I just hear him saying the N-word, this white guy saying the N-word. I've said it in the past. There are vines of me saying it. I don't even think
how old were you in those?
I don't know the specific age, but like 13, 14, 15, it ranges.
Yeah, I really don't think we should be calling up 13-year-olds for saying the N-word, to be honest.
But I was stupid about it. I was really, and I tweeted him and was like, I can't believe you do that. Like, kill yourself. Like mean as shit. Like,
you were 16?
Probably like 16 or 17.
And you had a ton of followers, and you're calling out Idubbbz. That is pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was stupid. I was so wrong. And so then he just went low key, didn't reply to it. I deleted the tweet, and he made a content cop on me, and I fucking
like right after or what?
No, it was like a few months after he like came to my meet and greet. You know, you've like seen it all, yeah. But I deserved it 100%, and the content cop was good.
I feel like you've like.
I find it interesting that Ian considers these videos and other creators in this space as a whole cruel, and something he doesn't want to be associated with. One thing I'd ask Ian is, if this is the case, why on earth would you want to be associated with either Ethan Klein or Hassan Piker? Both Ian and Hassan make some of the worst lowbrow content on the platform. Their business model essentially boils down to see what popular creator or personality is in the news lately and try to cancel them. They call anyone who disagrees with their politics Nazis, and have been known to go after sponsors of other creators. Ethan even said on camera last year that someone should consider blowing up an NRA meeting. Of course his producer caught this, and immediately Ian was able to save himself by walking back the joke after the fact. Ethan has also insulted and made fun of Professor Jordan Peterson many times, calling him a junkie during a time in which Peterson's wife was dying with cancer. He also called the Quarter an inbred loser. Is this not cruel, Ian? Is this really better than the types of people your old fans are that you slandered as basement dwellers? You know, the very people who supported you when you had nothing on the platform. The only content cop that if I was Ian I'd be a little embarrassed by was when he showed up to Tana's convention, simply because she was much younger than him and the joke itself wasn't really that funny. But let's look at it like this. Aside from the OnlyFans wife, this is another reason why people just call Ian a cook. So Tana already a pretty negative influence on the platform. For example, see the whole TanaCon incident and her clickbait marriage to everyone's favourite Jake Paul, for example. She made a series of tweets calling Ian a racist years ago. Ian hit back with the content cop, both to defend himself and show Tana as a complete hypocrite. And now years later, the man is completely grovelling at her feet for forgiveness. Just think about that. Someone attacks you, you defend yourself, and now you're ashamed that you defended yourself a little too well. Now, finally, in response to all the Ian and H3 fans who claim myself and other former fans of both are simply annoyed that both men have just grown up and matured. We're just supposedly annoyed that both don't go around saying slurs all day. I guarantee you that this criticism comes from people who are either teenagers or never followed Ethan and Ian in the beginning. They're just happy that both men now conform to their political worldview. What annoys myself and many others about these guys is that how they've completely pulled up the ladder from beneath them. They are happy to use edgy comedy and their old fans to make their fortunes and careers on the platform, and now in particular Ethan will try cancel anyone who does the same. all the while insulting their old fan bases who stuck beside them at the very beginning, while H3 was going through his lawsuit, while the likes of Tana was calling Ian a racist. Look at Filthy Frank, for example. Not one person is annoyed that he does not make comedy videos anymore. People are happy for Joji to make his music. The man stepped away with grace and never trashed his old content, nor the people who helped make him famous. And what does it mean to actually mature and grow as a person? Well, in my opinion, it means to take on some level of responsibility, to put your own self-gratification behind that of another. The best example I can think of are two guys I used to work with. Both were about 35. Both were massive into partying 3 or 4 days a week when they were younger, in their 20s. One guy did not change whatsoever. Still goes into work on a Wednesday badly hungover, has no partner, no savings, and will probably never have children. The other guy realised that he needs to put this side of himself away in search of something greater. To have and provide for 2 children, to save for a house and become a man. This is what it means to grow up and mature. Not ripping on people who supported you, not just changing your political allegiances. As for Idubbz, really I think we should just leave him alone. He's not anywhere as near as bad as someone like Ethan Klein and Hassan, to be fair to him. It's probably not going to work out well for him being married to someone like Anissa, but that's his choice. And best of luck to him in the boxing. He might get a win someday. You know, God loves a trier.
All the best to him. God loves a trier.